Then that whole last hour, it was streaming on another channel where I'm usually at, and so it was sort of very off topic for that kind of channel. It's a very dangerous thing to play around with this stuff. You never know what happens.
Can you get the video out of that streaming platform now?
Yes, it seemed like I could download it, and let's see if I can split it up and put it up there. Okay, reload. Oops, oh, it's just worked, magic. So let's see what we're going to do now. Let's give it let's try to figure out as much as we can on .NET ASP in 1 hour and see how it works. So, where to start? Let's go here. Oops, not there. There. There we go. Here we go, I think. So, let's try it. So, here. And oops. So I think we'll start with a fresh example, like we would when you have a sort of create a new application out of the box, and we dive into that, check out what parts, the structure of it, directories, and what it contains, so we know where we should look and where we can sort of ignore stuff. So let's go in there first. How did I create this? I did .NET new web app, and I label it as my fresh nice web app, something like that. And I want to use, let's see, what am I going to use? Let's see, I had it at the bottom of the slides. There. So I don't want to deal with the HTTPS certificate for now. They are sort of creating an HTTPS connection by default, and I don't want to mess with that currently because I need to sort of install the certificate to make it up and running. It's not too much hassle to do it, but I will ignore it for now. So I'll create with no HTTPS. So create it just like a console application. And there we go. So my nice fresh web app. Let's move in there. My fresh nice this time. There we go. So let's see. Whoops. 3.level1 only. Okay, so I got a few things here. I got some project file. I got pages. I got properties. I got object, root directory. I got some app settings. I got, looks like a C#, 2 C# file, one for program, one for startup. Let's see. You know what? Let's just make this run. How? .NET run. So with a bit of luck, it will just sort of kick up and start running. And if I go to a, yeah, here I was, localhost 500, 5000, and do a reload, and I get this sort of, this is the default setup. So I got something here with 2 pages. I got a header with a navbar, I got a footer, so something is sort of up here running. Okay, good. Let's go back there. I stop that and let's just have it in watch mode. So this watch mode makes it sort of, when I change a page, save it, it will actually sort of reload and start up again. So I don't need to have sort of stop it, start it whenever I change a page. So could be good to have it in watch mode. I think we'll go in here. And let's remove some stuff we have here. .NET, my fresh, there we go. Okay, so I have it there. You somehow see it? It's okay? So now when I started it, I got a bin directory. We can ignore that. So it's binary stuff for making it run. So yes, just leave that. And I leave the object directory also. So skip that. Could I skip anything more? Could I skip the property directory? There is a bunch of launch settings. Yeah, I can skip that for now. So I got that all generated for me. I just leave that. I could also sort of leave these application settings. This is for development, for live work. No, I don't need to deal with that. I don't need actually to deal with the project file either. So what do I have left then? I have a program CS file. I have a startup CS file. So yeah, we'll have a look in them. What do I have more? I have a root directory for the web files. So it looks like I got some style sheet there. Look like I have some JavaScript, some library. Oh, it looks like a lot of jQuery, Bootstrap. So looks like JavaScript stuff that I sort of bundled with the whole application and just included for me. Okay, so I got a fav icon. Okay. So I think that we could, for now, leave this root directory. It is the root directory where all the static web assets are stored. We had the same in Express. We labeled it public. Yeah. So we have it here also. So we can leave that out then. We have pages. Okay. Let's look at this. So this is the way that I'm sort of trying to organize their pages. I got an error page, I got an index page, and I got a privacy page. So let's have a look at that. So I got an index page. It more or less shows some welcome there. So welcome something Websoft, just to make it see if we can change anything. So I save that. And just this output, you see it's restarted. Okay. Yes. So I should be able to head on there and just reload the page and it's up and running. So, but it actually needed, like Node.js, we needed to sort of restart the application for its changes to take effect. And that might depend on a bit where do I change in the application. For example, if you did this in Node.js, Express, and if you changed in an EJS file, template file, you can actually change there and just continue to work, and the change would show up immediately. But if you changed Node.js code, JavaScript code, then you actually need to sort of restart the application. Or use some equal stuff here to have it in watch mode. Okay, so we want to learn a bit how to create a new page. So let's do that, yeah, just for the fun of it. So let's create a new page. I duplicate it and I just label it about. Okay. There is some other resource there connected to the page. So I'll duplicate that also. and label it about also. There we go. So I have the sort of HTML part, and then it looks like we got some template language on top of it, and seems like I did copy from index model, so let's change that to about model instead. This is the about page, and so let's change this so we see that the right page is loaded. So we're doing about, and let's have a look in this because it's about.c# HTML and it's labeled .cs. So this is a sort of a model class that is actually connected to the page. So I said it before, it's a way of splitting the template when we're using template language to generate the page response. So we have the main code in here. This is the actual response we will get. But we could sort of extract the more coding of it and put it into a CS class instead. And then I should most likely just see, do I have index here? Yes, I have index. Let's change that to about instead. So this is somewhere, this is about model, extends a page model, and it has something about the logger, and so yeah, I really don't, for now I really don't care. This could be a good place to place code when I actually want to sort of create content for my about page. Okay, so I leave this for now. So there we go. So I have an about page. So let's add it to the navbar. Where is the navbar? Okay, so the thing we see here with the pages is that they have something that is called shared. And they have something that is called layout. And this is a common way of organizing your pages. You only put sort of the page actual content into them, and then you render them on a layout. And here we find a layout. So this is the complete page layout, including header, footer, navbar, and everything else, but besides the actual page content in the middle then. So this is a very common way of organizing your pages using this template language. So this looks like a navbar. So let's just hope that it is a navbar. And that looks like a link. So let's change it to about. There we go, about. So I saved. Let's go down there and see if it worked. It takes a few seconds for it to restart. So that's why I'm getting this. It's not responsive when I'm too fast. So there we go. Home. About. Privacy. Yeah. Oh, it actually worked. So I added a page. Yeah. So page resources. Last time I did this, I sort of got in a strange loop because I could change the header with the navigation. But I couldn't get the link. So it was, well, some part, I updated some parts that wasn't in this watch mode. So it wasn't until I sort of restarted hard, sort of started went down there to actually do like this, that it actually sort of saw all my pages I had created. And so could be just good to have in mind in the back of your head that maybe that is troubleshooting. Okay, so we can do pages. let's see what we can do more. And when we do more now, I think I'm gonna go and I'm going to, you know what? I think I'll do like this. It's a bit of reverse engineering. So I shut this down. I go up. I have a few things here, and I have one thing that's called web app. So it's a prepared web application, and it's, if I look at it, it contains web app. It contains models, controllers, services. So it got free, this, well, framework related stuff. So let's see how those three parts sort of inject into the framework. How do I sort of connect these things together? And I think I'm going to do it like this. I just, for the sake of it, I'm going to take a copy of it. Web app, and I'm going just to label it sort of mic. There we go. Mic. So I'm just going to take a copy because I'm going to go in there. I'm going to change a few stuff. And there we go. Just see that it actually runs. Let's just see that it actually runs. There we go. Reload it. Privacy. Home. Okay, yeah. So here we have it. It's up and running. These things, you know, salary, savings, travel secret, that was so parts from the JSON data file we worked with Friday. When we tried out the .NET Console application. So we had that in the, we have it in example.NET data library. There is the account. Yeah, so we were playing around with that with the console application. So we're actually getting salary, savings, travel, secret into here. And that is sort of actually is a tiny bit or part of the actual assignment, just to get this up and running, create a HTML section of it. So yeah, so we have a sort of, I guess we are working in a bit safe environment, since we could work out from the example program and extend the code to actually solve it. I guess it's too hard to actually let you sort of do it from scratch, since we're doing, again, these many techniques. But I want to, what did I call it? I call it mic. So let's see here what we have. Let me disconnect a bunch of things first. So I'm going to, we add program. So let's just quickly see what's in the program class, because here is the sort of, here's main. So here is the startup of the class or application. This is the actual main. You could compare this to, we had a main in when running Express.js that sort of booted up the whole server, started listening on a specific port. And this is what is sort of happening here. So we got a main that is creating a host, and it's actually this boilerplate code that is sort of carrying out and starting up to, well, reading every configuration file and everything starting up. And it's using, when it is starting up, it is using a, well, class, a startup class. So it's taking and reading all its data from a startup class. So let's see what that startup class is containing. So here we have a few things, and I will sort of I will work from backend. So I will try to comment out a few things here. So I'll start by removing a controller. I continue to remove the JSON file account service. So these are 3 services added to the framework. So I remove them first. I'll add them later on, but just for now. And I try to remove this endpoint. This is an endpoint. I'm mapping a GET request to the accounts. So I'm removing this. That could be compared to what we did on Express.js, that we added routes to a specific path with a callback, and we wrote our code in a callback method. So let's remove that for now. And let's also remove controllers. So I won't be using any controllers for now. Okay. So you see this, you saw that this program file, I didn't change anything in that. The program file itself used startup class to actually sort of, what are the services that the framework will use for now? Well, they are all defined in here. So now I removed everything. This is for now using the same as my Hello World example. So it's the boilerplate code to make it up and running. And this is also what we can compare to how we made Node.js run. When we sort of loaded up Node.js, the app server there, we added static file content to it. So we said, listen to static file content. You have it in that directory there, the public directory. We told them, use AJS as template language. So we sort of files with an .ejs extension could be used for templates. And we connected this routing stuff to Express.js. So this is more or less the same bootstrapping phase. Kick it up and running. Okay, so now I removed everything to make the example work. So I really should go to the index page also. And here where I sort of loop around all my accounts that I'm obviously loaded from the JSON file, or which I have loaded from the JSON file. So I need to remove this also to make this page work. So I'm just doing like that for now. Away we go. And I think I need to go into this this class connected to the model class connected to the page also. Seems to me, yeah, you see I'm trying to use web models and services here. What could I remove here? Yes, maybe it is okay that I remove this part. As I said, we will. This is interesting. Let's have a look at this later on. But for now, let's remove it. Let's remove it. Okay, I think I can have the. Could I have that? Yes, I can leave that. Could I leave that? Yeah. Well, let's remove this. These are all sort of related. How to get information from the framework service that I call JSON file account service. So it seems to be a service that I made that sort of should be capable of reading the JSON data file and giving me a some kind of lists of accounts for my bank. So I remove them for now. I just want to have a first page that is actually sort of up and running without showing anything. And there we go. So back. Plain vanilla hello world application. So let's now go the other way around. So let's add this now. Let's add stuff to this web application. So my basic intention with this application is to make a web app that reads and presents data from the JSON file. In that case, my JSON file is my database for now. Okay, so how should I add this code that sort of reads the database? My JSON file. So the way to do it here is to add a service. So it's a service into the framework available at many places in the framework. So I'm adding a service. So for now, I need to have this kind of service. And it could look like this. So I call it JSON file account service. And let's see, it's not too much code, so let's see a bit how it works like. So it's a class. It has a constructor. The constructor of this is just some kind of web host information. So basic rough settings on the environment for this application, what it's running in. And it's taking that and it's setting it as its current part of its current state, this class. Okay. I'm adding a property for the JSON file name, and it's basically a way of combining these three items to build a path. So it's a path builder. Sounds like a thing that you would do in Java also, I guess. In PHP, I do string concatenation. Yeah, but it's same thing. So just make it easier to use this property in the code down here. So here is the actual code to load the JSON file name. And just sort of, it's basically the same code that was available in the console application, where we read the JSON data file. So I roughly took a copy of that code, put it in here, and reused it. But now in the sense of a framework service. So I get some kind of lists containing all the accounts, because that is how I set up my JSON file reader here. And I need to have this account class also. So where should I put it? Well, I put it as a model class. So plain model class, just another class, and I keep it in the model. I'm using web app model. So in this sense, this is my main sort of namespace, and I have models in the model directory, and I have services in the services directory. So then we have the service. Let's see how the models look like. Yeah, okay, so there's the class, and it's just this type of filler class where creating new objects mapping to my JSON data file. So, and this is also then the same as in the console application. So, yeah, here we could somehow sort of reuse these items, would be a better way when we did a larger project. Okay, so I have this. I have a service. Let's use this service and write out the content to my index page from the data JSON file. So then we need to sort of attach the service, this JSON file account service. Let's attach this to the whole sort of framework. So, And that is what we are doing in this startup class then. So we have this startup class. I'm now using both my models and services. And what can I do? I can add, this is a standard method, configure all services that this framework is going to use. So I'm adding a service. I could adding a singleton service, or I can add a transient service. And the difference between these is that the singleton, when I request this service, I will always get the same instance of it. So it's one global instance. And when I'm adding this transient, I always get a new object of it. So that is, yeah, the difference between it. So I'm adding this JSON file account service as a transient service into the framework. So it's somewhere in here, in part of the framework's service container. Do I need to do anything more? No, I don't think so. This is other stuff later on, so we'll look at that later on when we talk about controllers. So for now on, I have a service in the framework. So let's say that. So how can I make use of this service? Well, I want to go in here in this index model, and if I place back the code I had here, I somehow want to sort of do a for each of all the accounts I have. Okay, so var account in model accounts. So here I somehow need to get that stuff into there. It's all the accounts. And then I have this index model, and it's available here. So it's a class connected to this specific page then, where I can use from. So let's see what I need to do here. So here I am sort of trying to what would be the first place to look? Well, it's actually, I would say here, because this is the constructor. And when I add this JSON file account service to the constructor, I'm actually sort of, this is a sort of dependency injection glue between the framework and my standalone classes. So I'm actually depending on that the framework has some kind of intelligence, saying that hey, this is my constructor. Be nice to inject this type of service when you are creating this sort of class here. So this is magic that needs to be implemented in the framework to make this dependency injection actually work then. But I can do it here. So if I don't mind about all this magic, I just know, okay, I want the service in here. So I have added the service to the framework. It's in there. Now bring it to me so I can work with it. And when I get it, I will make it a part of my, well, state then. So I'm adding it to be a part of my state. Well, it's more or less save it as a member property, member variable of this class, so I can work with it. So that's what I'm doing there. And if that is going to work, I need some kind of property to save it as account service. Yes. And then it seems like we have some kind of sort of, looks like more or less like an event handler for when on get to this page. What should I do when this page is requested using a get HTTP get request? Okay, yeah, then I should read all the accounts. So use these servers that I have there and get all the accounts. And get all the accounts, then that would be the services, the JSON account file services, get accounts will give me an, well, container of accounts. Okay, so there we go. And I'm obviously making this as part of my state. So I need to sort of create a member variable for that also. Okay. So all these things, so I tried to talk about before lunch about dependency injection, service container, and how the framework sort of has control of all the services and has the ability to inject them into my code. And here, when I'm working with it, I don't know what kind of, well, it's just a service, so just bring it to me. I don't need to create it on my own, I just rely on the framework to supply it to me. So that was all about this. And let's save that page also. And if we are in a lot of luck, we just do a reload and, oh yeah, we are lucky today. Yes, I feel lucky. So it's out there. Yeah, you got the point. But it's these small things of how to set it up, how to think of the things where we store them, what is a service, what is not a service, what is a model class. Well, these are the different things, and these are decisions we need to take all the way when we do this. So, okay, you know what? I don't care about your break, so I will just continue until I'm done, because I'm going to add a controller. So I guess 15 minutes or something like that. Yeah. So I got pages. Yes. I got services. Yes. Let's have a look at this startup file, because I removed something down here. Let's get back this Node.js Express route callback handler lookalike. So what could this be? It looks like I'm mapping a GET request onto the account path. And it looks like I'm doing a callback handler for it. And we'll just assume that this context is the context of this particular request. So when we worked in Express.js, we could relate this to, what was it? It was the request that was sent as input variable. I think so. We got the request actual that we could work with. So this is, no, it didn't help that, right? Ooh, I want it back. Okay. So what will this do? We want to have some kind of JSON REST APIs response for this. So I am loading all the accounts. How am I? Yeah, I did a large one-liner. So I'm using the app. I have the app here in this. So get me all application services. No, get me only a specific application service. This one. Let's bring this to me. And this is a method, so I'm calling it. And I'm actually getting this service back, and the service has then a method that I can use, so get accounts. But just try not to miss this one. So there we actually call that service, and then we have it. Get the accounts, save them in a variable. Do you have a var variable in Java?
I think now it does. Now it does.
Now it does. Yeah.
But
Okay.
we didn't use it.
No, you didn't do it. No. It's a seems to be a sort of easy way to. I don't care what type it actually is. Just give it to me. I'll deal with it accordingly. So okay. So I get the counts. I want to make them a JSON structure. So let's just make me a one-liner who's actually sort of writing it, taking the data structure and making a JSON response of it. And when I have it, we have some kind of async here. Maybe we have a bit of flavor from Node.js, a bit of async. Write it. So writing the context, make the response with the content of JSON then. So if I save that, and we'll try to go to the accounts path. Well, so let's see. Are you feeling lucky? Accounts. There we go. Yes, we're lucky today. So we got the JSON structure just like a sort of string out. So we actually got it's a REST API. Okay. But I think we have one more because it will, as you understand, if we just add these callbacks, it will eventually turn up a lot of code there, so it will grow. So let's map them into controllers instead. So take this code, map them into controllers. And yeah, let's do that. We can stay here in the services in the startup file. So it seems like I have done this before. So first, I allow this web application to use controllers. So I'm adding controllers as a general service to it. Okay, so I'm going to use controllers. What is controllers? Maybe it is my controllers folder up there. Eventually we go up there. Okay. And we also have controllers as an endpoint. So the controllers that we are loading, use them as endpoints. Okay, good. Yeah, so you see I'm configuring up all my sort of web application here. Let's see how we can, what is a controller in this case? Well, it is this. It's nothing more than this. So I'm using a bit of stuff here, up here. Yep, I don't really care. I have a web namespace, controllers, because I'm in the controller folder also, sounds reasonable. And here is sort of some meta information, most likely used when the application is loading what's in the controller folder and actually sort of mapping each controller class into the router structure. So it knows where should I put this. I need to map this to a path. This specific controller must be mapped to an URL path. So we have this meta information doing that. And I'm mapping this to a path that is API/controller name. So that will eventually turn up to API/accounts in this case. It will turn up to this part. So I'm having this controller then, inheriting from a controller base. Yes, could be nice, I guess. So controller, account controller, and here we got this again. I am a controller. This is my constructor. So you are the framework, so why don't you just inject the service into me? So, and I want this service, and yes, I could add more services if I wanted to have them into this particular class. But this is for the framework to inject services into me. And again then, this is dependency injection, inversion of control. I don't need to create my own object of this service here. I'm just relying on the on the instance I'm getting from the framework. So let's make that a part of my state, which is save it as my member variable. And what are we supposed to do when we get an HTTP GET? So here we get this kind of meta structure. Work on HTTP GET for this method. And when we get GET, give me some kind of collection of accounts by using this service and its particular items then. So get the accounts. Maybe I should do a save accounts also. Could be good for some, perhaps some reason. So now I have organized my code in the controller. So just let's save that, and if we are really lucky, we actually could end it here now if this works. So I'm going to API/accounts, should map to my controller class. I'm doing a get. I just want the content of the service get all accounts or whatever it is. Oh, I'm so lucky today. So there we go. Currently, I guess perhaps I got a bit of better header in this kind. At least the browser is formatting the JSON data for me, so it looks better. Yes.
I have a question. Where exactly do we specify that the name is accounts now?
That name is
like API/accounts. We do say API/controller, but where does it look to get that?
Yeah, it looks like the controller name. So it gets the.
This is named accounts controller.
Yes, it's API/accounts, and it gets that from the sort of bracket. Get the name from the controller. Okay. So it's actually taking the name from this current controller. So it's taking this part.
Does it look for where then, like the camel case stops? Like why is it not accounts controller and it's accounts?
Just removes that part.
It removes it. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Making it a sort of bit easier for us to actually sort of connect it, but it's adding a sort of a layer of small magic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I see that.
Yes. So if you like magic, nice. But if you actually really want to understand what's actually happening, it's might be a bit disturbing until you actually get the point. Yep. And but this kind of setup, we'll find the basics for this. We could find it in the JavaScript framework, and we could also see these types of sort of magic notations. We could find it in a PHP framework, also the same. And we always sort of mount a controller onto a router path. And then we get a sort of class to work with instead. So that was basically all. And you have the whole this whole let's go there, WebSoft. We have it in the example.net, and it's called web app. So it's a good thing to take a copy of that web app, move it to work, and play around with and see. I assume you want to. Okay, let's organize the stuff in my head. Models, services, controllers. How do I get them up and running? How do I add a new page? Okay, I need to go into the layout. So these things then. And the things I did here, they are, if you want to have them sort of in a slower motion, you should go to this ASP.NET 101 video series, because this is sort of the first part of it. I'm leaving out the last sections of that video because they are doing a stylish things with CSS Bootstrap. They are also doing client-side JavaScript to do some stuff. But it's really good to have that on the left hand. Yeah.
Do they also get this file structure with like controllers, models, pages, services?
Yes, it's the same. Yeah, they do exactly the same, and they are doing an e-commerce thing, and they are also doing this by a JSON file structure, so they're reading it. So my example is a bit smaller, yes, smaller, and they also write to the JSON file. And but you have written to JSON file in your console application, so you could.
Right. So
Yeah.
you can just take a copy.
Yeah. So ASP.NET 101 is a good companion when you're working with this. And you will also see a bit more stuff that they have there. Okay? So yeah, I'll stick around here until 3 o'clock. So whatever you feel like. And if nothing else, I see you not next Friday. Yeah, next Friday. Yes. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.